Hello, everyone, and welcome in to the Corsace Open 2022. We are finally here with the matchup you have all been waiting for, the winners finals between the top two seeds out of qualifiers and the top two teams in the tournament. These two teams have faced a little to no opposition all the way here to the winners finals, and I don't think that's to anybody's surprise given the strength of the rosters on these two teams, Whispering Almond and Goofy. My name is Dio. I'm going to be here for the winners finals alongside iFlame. Let them know what's up, iFlame. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon indeed. It is a great afternoon. I could not be more excited for this match. Obviously, like you said, these are two of the best teams in the tournament, 1 and 2 seed. It's going to be such a good one, and these are just, the rosters are so strong on these two teams. Before we talk about the teams though, are going to look at the pick ban format. Is going to be best of 13, which means first to 7. And with that comes the addition of one more round of bans. So format is going to be the exact same, but after the second round of bans, you get 4 more maps and then another 2 bans before you close it out.
Very similar to the format we have been using so far, but with the addition of that third set of bans near the end of the match. And yeah, you can just tell from the names on these rosters that these are probably going to be your top 2 by the end of the tournament. And that was the prediction of pretty much everybody looking at the teams at all during the beginning stages of the tournament. Whispering Almond with Bartek22830, I'm a Fancy Lad, Utami, Badu, Disco Marek, now known and better known as Malashevsky, Rectagon, Von Lakayon, better known as Taquito, and Majora. And on Team Goofy, we have Fiery Rage, Emrek, White Cat, Reed Cat, Zudinator, Keeg, now known as Enri, Kriller, and Sawada. These two rosters are just absolutely ridiculous in terms of how good each and every single player on both of these teams is. You have a couple of specialists on each team, like Badu and Majora, or Sawada, for example, on Team Goofy, but so many of these players, you look at them and say, yeah, that is one of the best 1v1 players that currently plays OS tournaments right now. And that is true for both of these teams, right? So you have some very, very strong rosters, and that's reflected in their overall score lines. Whispering Almond currently 17-0 through the bracket stage of the Corsace Open. Goofy currently 22-4 through the bracket stage.
Yeah, and like you mentioned, Whispering Almond undefeated so far, Goofy having dropped only 4 maps. But what I do want to highlight is that on the side of Goofy, there is one player that has been missing, and that is Emrek. You know, he has not played a single match in this tournament so far. And this is just casually, you know, currently one of the best players in the world that's been sitting on the bench for the whole tournament. And so if Emrek is here today, well, 1, it would be like 3 in the morning, but 2, that is an incredibly strong addition, and so opens them up to potentially compete with Whispering Almond. I mean, you look at the stats, they are very one-sided in the favor of Whispering Almond here, but when you actually look at the scores of both of these two teams throughout the tournament, and the maps that they have both played similarly, they actually have very comparable scores, with Goofy, I think, beating out Whispering Almond on more maps than they lost.
Yeah, that's a pretty significant fact, actually, if that is true. I mean, if Goofy is able to, you know, contest on things like the semifinals and quarterfinals pools, there's not really a reason why they should fall off going into finals and grand finals, right? This is a team that has incredible skill cap on basically all of their players, whether that's for their niche players in Sawada and Fiery Rage, who are going to, you know, come in on particular maps and be incredibly good on just a few maps in the pool, or whether it's for their all-rounders like White Cat and Reed Cat and Zudinator. You know, there's not a lot that those players can't do, and well, the things that they can't do are filled in by their specialists anyway. The same obviously goes for Whispering Almond. There's zero reason for either of these teams to fall off. You are expecting them to put up the best scores that we have seen so far in the finals weekend. We've seen a pretty interesting finals weekend so far. We saw a massive upset in the losers bracket with No Title beating out the 3rd seed Shale at first, being the 12th seed. and making it into top 4. And then we saw The beat both Ramsing 7-0 and No Title 7-4 in our last losers bracket match. That last match in particular, extremely close between the two teams, and I'm hoping that we get something similar here. I know a lot of people right now are predicting Whispering Almond to come out on top in this match, and generally speaking, they have been the more consistent team, right? They have dropped 0 maps. They also were number 1 on 10 out of 11 maps in qualifiers. But the finals weekend is different from basically every other weekend. This is the first weekend where you are truly out of the range of previous map pools, where qualifiers results start to matter less and less. It doesn't really matter that they were top on 10 out of 11 maps if the skill cap scaling is there for Goofy on a bunch of other maps anyway in this pool. To boot, this is a full-size pool versus an 11 map pool like in qualifiers. So there is a lot that is different here, but both of these teams, again, should have 0 reason why their scaling should be nerfed going into the finals, and I think it's going to be interesting to see where that leads us, particularly when you get into some of the things that these teams have preferred picking into, right? We've seen Whispering Almond pick a lot into speed, actually, whereas Goofy, I think, has been picking a bit less into speed, but more into aim and tech. So it's going to be interesting to see exactly what they want to pick into each other, given that they haven't really been challenged so far in this tournament.
Yeah, I think it's a very good point about Whispering Almond being more consistent so far, but the maps are getting much harder, and these are the kinds of pools where it is actually really difficult, even for these top caliber players. And this is where you can see players like Whitecap, players like Emmerich really pop off and put up, solo carry performances, assuming they're both here today. But talking about this team's skill sets, especially Goofy, this has been the No Mod 6 team. I'm pretty sure they've protected No Mod 6 in every single match of theirs so far, except for maybe one. I'm fairly sure they've won all of them. But Whispering Almond has played a fair amount of No Mod 6 as well, and they've looked incredible on the No Mod 6s, putting up 3 million scores on the first round No Mod 6. I believe that was the top score by far. And so I feel like Goofy are going to potentially have to be a little bit more hesitant about just protecting that No Mod 6, because you can't just afford to go for the gimmick pick and say we have the better players anymore when this team of Whispering Almonds is just as good.
Yeah, it's definitely, I think it'll be really interesting to see what both of these teams protect. As much as Whispering Almond has had a pretty good speed roster, generally speaking, players like Utami, Rectagon, Majora, Taquito, even I'm a Fancy Lad and Malashevsky can play speed, or Bartek as well. Very, very good speed player of old. Less and less inclined to be in on the speed maps as of recent, which is why I don't include him right off the bat. I'm not sure exactly how much he has de-rusted his speed, but both of these teams really have honestly avoided speed a little bit, or had speed picked into them rather than picking it themselves, which begs the question of which of these teams actually wants to pick the speed into the other, right? You can put together a good speed lineup for both of these teams, but if you look a little bit closer, you'll see like Keeg, Sawada, and I don't know. I think it's going to be really interesting to see who wants to pick into the speed and who, like you said, kind of bites the bullet regarding the No Mod 6, the No Mod 3 and 4, because those types of maps are the things that both of these teams have really, really shined on throughout the tournament so far. And it's going to be, I think it'll just come down to comfort on this map pool. Like, a lot of this pool is relatively straightforward in terms of how similar it is to previous map pools, but you do have some weird things going on. The No Mod 6 this weekend is a precision map for one. It's not necessarily a reading map or a rhythm test. That rhythm test moving down to Free Mod 2 rather than the No Mod 6, and you have a lot of aim consistency in this pool as well. In the last pool in semifinals, you had a lot of tech in that pool, and it just doesn't exist in the same volume as in semifinals during this pool. So there's going to be the question of pool comfort. There's going to be the question of who wants to try to pick into tech, or do they even pick it at all? given that both of these teams are incredibly solid at it to begin with? Or do they want to try both picking it at the start or both protecting it? Because if you misplaced your protect, which is very possible in a matchup like this, misplacing your protect and going with the wrong thing, when you have two super teams like these who are both incredible at basically every map in the pool, it's very easy to accidentally protect the wrong thing. You could really make an early strategic error. So I think read on the matchup is going to be very important to start for these two teams, not wasting that protect, not wasting that first ban, and getting ahead of the curve during the first set of picks. The first two picks for each team, I think, are going to be very, very important during this match.
They certainly are, and I do want to highlight the protects that you were just talking about here, and kind of the strategy with protects. Obviously the Corsace format, starting out with 2 protects, and then having multiple phases of bans opens up a lot of different potential strategies. And one thing that both of these teams have done somewhat consistently is they have picked their protected map right after the first round of bans, before the second round of bans. And honestly, I would love to see both of these teams, hold their protects. I feel like holding onto your protect lets you pick 2 maps that your opponent will no longer be able to ban out. And also, you still have your protect that your opponent knows in the back of your head is just going to be theoretically a free point for you. Doesn't always work out that way, but that's the idea. And so I do really want to see these teams hold on to their protects instead of just picking them right away. The interesting thing for Goofy is that they're not just picking their protects as their first pick because it's their best map. They have been saving their protect until the second pick, so first pick before the second ban phase. So clearly there is some thought and strategy into that, and that is what they've deemed to be the best strategy. I'm not 100% sure what the idea behind it is. Maybe they want the first ban for some reason. But we'll have to see what both of these teams go for.
I think a lot of times saving that protect it can be a good thing. I think in matchups where there is a very clear, discrepancy between the skill sets of the teams, where you have, for example, No Title versus The yesterday, right? The is clearly picking speed into No Title. So it doesn't really matter whether they pick their protect first or third rotation. It's a speed map. They're going to pick the speed maps anyway. But if there are a bunch of speed maps left up in the pool, you can pick 2 of them in the first rotation and save that protected pick for the second rotation of picks anyway. In matchups like this one, I think it will really end up depending what the picks are in the first rotation, whether or not they want to use their protect early. Because if you have a couple of picks, again, that are of the same skill set, that are going well for both of these teams, then if the protect aligns with those, it's probably the last map left up in the pool by the time you're done with the first set of picks that still falls into that category. So you can save it as long as you want and then move into the second round of picks, or even save it for the third round of picks, depending, and use it when you need it most as a sort of lifeline. But if there's only 1 or 2 maps that actually fit that bill, you can just use it early and try to get ahead of the curve in terms of momentum in the match, right? And then if you know a lot of other picks that you want to go for later, you can use those in the second and third rounds and just win via normal means after that. But it's all about the information game with the protect, really, at this point, whether or not you want to use it to declare your pick strategy, so to speak, or kind of save it for later and get a couple of other types of maps out of the way first.
For sure, and especially when both of these teams are so strong, and both of these teams can definitely take points off of each other on, I'd say, most of the picks. Momentum is just that much more important, whether you want to get momentum for yourself in terms of winning a couple points in a row, or you've lost a few points, maybe your team's down and you just want to get the momentum somewhat back in your favor, get some, make your team feel a little bit better. That can definitely be a good point to go for your protected maps as well. One thing about this pool is I do feel like it is somewhat heavy on kind of flow aim, or just generally aim, compared to the earlier pools. And so I'm wondering if that will help out Goofy a little bit. They obviously have a lot of incredible aim players in White Cat, in Zudi, and in Emrek, even Kriller. Pretty good aim player there. So I do think that's going to help out Goofy a little bit more so than the tech pool or tech focus pool that we saw in the last round.
I'm also of the opinion that an aim focused pool is going to help Goofy a little bit. My concern there is that a lot of the maps where I think they win out on aim don't necessarily carry over into what you would call aim control afterwards. I think they win quite a lot of the consistency picks, your DT1, Hard Rock 1, Nomad 1, Fremod 1, maybe even the Hidden 1 as well. A couple of very, very good hidden aim players on both teams, which is why I think that one's a bit more of a toss-up than the other. Same for Fremod 1, a bit more of a toss-up there. But, you know, after you get through that, you have maybe Hard Rock 2 and Nomad 6 as further aim maps. And don't forget, there are 3 rounds of bans, right? So for Whispering Almond side, they can ban out 3 of those. And you're left with relatively few aim consistency maps left in the pool, or precision maps left in the pool. And now you have to contend with aim control on maps like the Double Time 4, or the Nomad 3, Nomad 4, or the Hard Rock 3, which are all relatively technically intensive maps, things that players like I'm a Fancy Lad, like Malashevsky, like Badiou are going to be incredibly good on, right? So it starts to become less and less favored for Goofy when you get into those types of aim control focused maps. I think that the contest in this matchup is going to really come from which of these teams can pick speed into the other, because I think when you're talking about aim control, when you're talking about tech and alt, Whispering Almond is probably going to end up winning those. When you're talking about the aim consistency, Goofy is probably going to end up winning those, even if they are missing Emrek. Note that I haven't talked about Emrek yet, because we believe that he is not going to be here for this match. But I don't think that matters for the aim consistency maps. I think that they have a good enough aim team anyway that they are going to still win it. That Hard Rock 3 Protect is really interesting in that context, because I did not think that was going to be a map that Goofy actually would win on. But if you take a look at the Hard Rock roster for Goofy, they have players like White Cat, Reed Cat, and Kriller, who are all going to be very, very good on Hard Rock tech maps. I am still a little bit concerned because there's players like Badiou that exist on the side of Whispering Almond, who are also incredible Hard Rock tech players. Players like I'm a Fancy Lad and Malashevsky, obviously still going to be very good on that map, even if it is on Hard Rock. So it's an interesting protect for sure. I'm not sure how either of these protects actually plays out. You still have some very, very good reading players on the side of Goofy, but I do think that Hidden 2 protect is good from Whispering Almond as well. They have so many very, very good low approach rate players. Badiou, Malashevsky, Utami, I'm a Fancy Lad, to name 4 of them that they could put in. You have other players as well that could go in for that type of map, like Taquito or Bartek on that roster. So they basically have 6 players to choose from for that map. Makes it very, very easy for them to find the win.
Certainly is, and what I like about the HD2 pick is while neither teams have really played much HD2, HD2 is that one map in qualifiers that Goofy really struggled on. They were missing a few players, and of course we talk about with the pools being so hard, qualifier results don't necessarily matter, but they really, really struggled on the Hidden 2 compared to every other map, and so maybe a lot less comfortable on that. Hard Rock 3 Protect, definitely a little bit unexpected, but fun fact for you guys, with that Protect, Hard Rock 3 is going to have a 100% Protect rate across the weekend, and Hidden 2, 100% pick rate so far, so that's going to continue as well. We do have the 2 bans, DT3 for Whispering Almond, Goofy, banning out Nomad 5, so both teams are actually going to be banning out some form of speed. DT3 is obviously a little bit more bursty, a little bit less speed intensive, and more finger control focused, but it does still have a speed element to it, so there's going to be a lot of speed taken out of this pool. And this pool, like I said earlier, doesn't actually have a ton of speed, so the only speed option left is that kind of DT2 pick. And speed not going to be a huge factor in this match.
That's just so funny to me. Neither of these teams want to be the first one to pick speed. They're just going to both ban speed against the other because they both think they lose speed, which is actually kind of understandable. Neither of the teams wanting to play the speed maps in this pool, given how much of a toss-up it probably is between them. I think that's the one place where you cannot look at a map and say, yeah, this one team's roster is better than the other, even with the absence of MREC. Goofy, I think, still has a completely good chance of winning speed. Same for Whispering Almond. This Hard Rock 3 pick, though, we've talked about this a little bit more. Just to put this back into perspective, there are a lot of 1/6 rhythm changes in this map. There's a lot of cut streams and a little bit less of a focus on slider aim and long sliders to follow in this map, but it is still very technically intensive in that aspect regardless. I think that this is going to be, maybe they're picking this with Badu in mind, thinking that the BPM on a lot of the 1/6 is going to be the thing that trips him up, but it is only 160 BPM, so he's probably going to be able to put up a very good score on this regardless, and even then they have more than 4 tech players on the side of Whispering Almond to go in for this sort of map. If it's not Badu, they can put in Taquito or Rectigon on this Hard Rock map, who we haven't really mentioned too much, but is one of the best Hard Rock tech players in the game. So this is still a really tough map, I think, for both of these teams. Goofy clearly very confident in the pick, both protecting it and using it as the first pick. Again, not wanting to give up any more information that is necessary early on, given probably how little these teams are confident in winning against the other throughout the rest of this matchup, right? This is, again, a matchup where both of these teams have been looking at the other throughout the entire tournament probably and waiting for this winners finals to start so that they can finally show that they are the better team and get that winners bracket spot in the grand finals. That's what this matchup is all about, getting that guaranteed top 2, getting that winners bracket advantage in the event of a bracket reset, getting the second life in grand finals versus having to win twice in a row in grand finals in order to win the whole tournament. So this is a massive deal for both of these teams to win, and we're going to be starting out a little bit rough here for Goofy on the first pick. Reedcat, Zudinator, and Fiery Rage all dropping some early misses here on this map. Enry, the only full combo remaining, and there goes his full combo as well. 4-way FC still remaining for Whispering Almond, and I hate to say it, but this is why I was thinking that this pick would be very good for Whispering Almond, because the Hard Rock Tech roster here, I didn't even mention Majora, but he's in on the map and still full comboing once again alongside everybody else. Does finally drop a miss, but 3-way FC at the 1/3 mark compared to 0 FCs for Goofy. Whispering Almond just crushing the first pick with style, not only winning the Protect, but the first pick as well.
Yeah, winning for now. They are very far ahead, but there's still half of the map to go. And the second half of this map is a lot different than the first. It is a lot more focused on kind of that flow aim control, whereas the first half is a lot more slider heavy. But like you said, this is a very scary pick. Whispering Almond was very clearly the better Hard Rock 3 team last week. Both of these teams played last week's Hard Rock 3, and Whispering Almond did quite a bit better on it. Looking to do the same again, Malice does find the miss. We do see a lot of recovered combos on the side of Goofy, Zudi, Fiery, and Reedcat. All recovered very nicely, but still 2 FCs on Whispering Almond, and it's not going to be nearly enough. Only a third of the map to go, and they're running out of time so fast. I think this one is just going to be over, and not only do they lose their first pick, but they lose their Protect. And that is going to be such a bad feeling. Reedcat finds the last miss to close this one out, and Whispering Almond feeling so good about this one. Do have the next pick as well, so going to be looking to give themselves a very early 2-0 lead into this match and get themselves some momentum.
And perhaps a bit of misplaced confidence in this pick, or a bit of an underperformance for Goofy. You never know which one it really is, whether or not the team sheets showed this kind of score, or whether they showed something a lot higher. But regardless, that is a massive score lead for Whispering Almond on the first protected pick for Goofy. A full combo out of Rectigon, not the highest accuracy we have seen this weekend on a 98% FC from Karcher, but still an incredibly good score, and one of, I think, 2 FCs on the map so far this weekend. I don't think that we have seen any others besides those 2, despite this map getting a 100% pick rate across all of the matches in the finals weekend. Really solid team score for Whispering Almond, as basically everybody above 600k besides Majora is still above that 500k mark as well. the team comfort clearly just way higher for Whispering Almond on that map, and unfortunately a rough start to the matchup for Goofy, who are now down their Protect and down a Breakpoint after the first pick.
Yeah, a little bit of fourth player syndrome from Goofy there. You saw Henry down at 90% accuracy, really struggled with that one. And against a team like Whispering Almond, they have so much depth to their roster. They can put up a good 4-player lineup on just about any map in the pool. And so you really can't afford to go for these picks where, you know, you hope your best 3 players can do good enough to outscore the 4 players on the side of Whispering Almond. They're just much too strong of a team for that. And so you really have to look for and try and find these picks where your whole team can at least has a chance to play them. I'm wondering if we do see something like a Nomad 3 or a Nomad 4 from Whispering Almond. Those have been some of their go-to picks so far throughout the tournament, especially in the last few rounds. But they're going to be going for DT4 instead. And this is a very fun map. This is just straight up DT alt. Lots of very snappy aim mixed in with the flow aim. And this is kind of, like you mentioned, potentially a Badu map. Something that you'd expect him to be very strong on.
Yeah, I think this is the best pick in the pool for Whispering Almond, probably. Their old-style DT players are absolutely incredible. Some of the best that there are, like, in the whole world. So I think that this is a very, very good first pick for them. I'm surprised that it wasn't a ban for Goofy, that they chose to ban Speed over something like this, because it's, like, palpable how good the roster for Whispering Almond on this map is. I can't really overstate it. This is a Kirby Mix style DT map, which means you're seeing a lot of really wonky stream shapes, a lot of older 2009, 2010 style burst patterning in this map, and at very low BPM. It's only 186 BPM, which means that players like Badu are going to be able to go in and play this map with aplomb. It is also only AR8 DT, so you are not getting any high approach rate capping on this. Players like Bartek, like I'm a Fancy Lad, like Utami, like Malashevsky, like Takedo are all going to be incredible for this. And again, you have 6 players or more to choose from for the side of Whispering Almond to go in on this sort of map. I still would not be surprised to see Rectagon or Majora in for something like this, especially given that we just saw Majora in for the Hard Rock tech pick in Hard Rock 3. Something very similar in mapping style. Both of these maps really focusing heavily in on the flow aim and aim control, something that Whispering Almond has in spades. And yeah, there's Rectagon in once again for this map. Despite it not being a Hard Rock map, doesn't really matter. Again, basically everybody on that roster, one of the best 1v1 tournament players in the game, has more than enough raw skill and aim control to make up for the fact that this is maybe not his exact niche in tournaments. We are going to see a couple of early breaks from Fancy Lad, Malashevsky, Kriller, and Zudinator. And, you know, I've talked a lot about the roster for Whispering Almond. That doesn't mean that the roster on this type of map for Goofy is bad. You have Whitecap, Fiery Rage, Kriller, and Zudinator in on this type of pick, but it's going to be a tough road for both of these teams. Actually, Rectagon and Badu also now dropping the FCs. It's only Fiery Rage holding on to an FC. Both of these rosters are very good on this type of map, and Fiery Rage in particular, somebody who has been around the block more than a few times regarding OS and is probably going to be pretty good on this sort of map as well. If he can hold this FC, he can potentially take back the breakpoint they lost on their first pick and make this not as bad of a start for Goofy. It is still rough to lose the Protect, and it's rough to lose that full combo out of Fiery as well now, especially given the combos that have been accumulated over on the side of Whispering Almond. This looks to go over to them soon if they can hold those combos.
Yeah, that score lead is going to flip back over so quickly. Rectagon, Zudi going to trade. That's going to favor Whispering Almond, and there goes Fancy as well now. So all of a sudden, it's going to be incredibly close, but it's Malice there with the high combo. Whitecat and Kriller are doing their best to match, but they are going to need to miss out of Malice because it does have high enough combo to put a really big score lead. Kriller finds a miss now, and everybody else on the side of Goofy, aside from Whitecat, Shane missing. Luckily, Whispering Almond are trading the misses so far, but Malice with that high combo is so well poised to take this match, put Whispering Almond up 2-0, but there is still another really tricky section right towards the end. Does need to hold, because if Malice finds a miss, I think Whitecat should have enough combo to maybe bring this one back. It's going to be incredibly close. But all of that relies on Malice missing. There go Rekti and Zudi. Neither of those players matters. And there goes Whitecat. And that's going to be it. Whispering Almond are going to go up 2-0 now with the high combo from Malice. Not quite an FC, but it is going to be more than enough. And Goofy down 2-0. Really going to need to get some momentum back with their next pick.
Ended up being a lot closer than I would have thought. But unfortunately, the carry pop-off from Malashevsky really closing out any type of win from Goofy. Whitecat not doing badly on that map. 600k almost for him, but not enough to outshine the Polish superstar Malashevsky, who has just been ridiculous all throughout this year in tournaments.
Yep, and it was a lot closer than we would have expected. You know, obviously Whispering Almond, kind of like you talked about at the start, the whole roster is so good. I mean, you just look at Bidoo, Fancy Lad, and Malice especially, arguably 3 of the best aim control all players in the entire game. And so they might have a little bit of pause picking further alt maps after that one, but it was still 300k win, which is not a bad score at all on these kind of late stage pools. And so I do think they should stay confident, stick with their alt picks, and should serve them well. In the meantime, it is Goofy who now has the pressure to finally find a point here. It's very early. They've only given up 1 breakpoint, but if you go down 3-0, you've given up 2 breakpoints, and momentum completely in Whispering Almond's favor is so hard to come back from despite how long the match is. We are going to be getting the Nomad 2 in for Goofy. This is 205 BPM, so going to be pretty comfortable for all of these players, really. Kind of the challenge with this map, I'd say, is the stream aim. There is a lot of pretty tricky kind of flow aim streams and a few sharp cuts on a couple of these streams as well. There's 2 streams, one right in the middle of this map that's really brutal to hit.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty good pick for Goofy. You have some really good stream players on the side of Whispering Almond. We also haven't seen Utami yet this matchup, so if they are missing him, that's something that Goofy can potentially pick around and maybe pick some speed into later on. Unfortunately, Double Time 2 a likely second ban for Whispering Almond if they do find out that there is no Utami on this Nomad 2. But they have some extremely good speed players or stream players for Goofy, excuse me. Whitecat in particular, one of the best stream players in the game. Reedcat not too far behind him in that regard. Keeg, Henry here are going to be pretty solid for them as well. And on 200 BPM, I think you can look to a player like Zudinator to potentially go in for this sort of pick as well. This is not so fast that she is potentially speed gapped. I don't think you see Fiery Rage in for this map, given that it is 205. But I think you can still see somebody like Zudinator go in for this sort of map. So again, looking at a relatively good roster for Goofy on this map. For Whispering Almond, they haven't really played a lot of Nomad 2, and I think that's because their roster is not really built for it. You have like Malashevsky for this sort of map and Utami, but a lot of the other players do not traditionally go in for this sort of pick during tournaments, which makes this, I think, a relatively good pick for Goofy.
For sure. I do think Rekti, another very good stream player on the side of Whispering Almond, but we are going to be seeing Sawada in over Zudi. Rest of the lineup, very expected from them. Majre in as well. Bartek, I think this makes a lot of sense, but would give the edge to Goofy on this one. Bartek does find an early miss. These are going to be the much easier streams. You really don't want to drop combo because it's so hard to hold onto your combo through the middle of the map. This is a very short map as well, not too stamina intensive, so going to give some of these players a little bit of an easier time. Recat now finds the miss. Going to give the edge back over to Whispering Almond for a second, but as Malice trades it back into the break, Goofy with a very slight lead. And you do get these kind of very easy aim sections in between all of the streams to let all of these players recover their stamina. So the stamina is very easy, but Bartek finds another miss, not looking super comfortable, and misses on the aim section. There's that really tricky stream, claims 3 combos on the side of Goofy, but Rekti and Majre, the last 2 FCs on Whispering Almond, hold on, and that's going to be so huge. Rekti does find a miss, but these streams are not crazy difficult compared to that last one, and so Majre should be able to hold on to this combo, but Kieg matching on the other side, going to keep it close.
Yeah, as long as Majora holds here, it is probably still going over to Whispering Almond. Henry has the full combo. Rectagon also holding this FC, helping extend the score lead for Whispering Almond. And despite the good combos on Sawada and Reedcat, there goes Enri, and there goes their chances at winning this map. Goofy down almost 150,000 score now. Rectagon still holding a 99% FC on this map. Is likely to carry the score into the ending for Whispering Almond as we see more breaks for Sawada and Reedcat come through. No combos for the side of Goofy, and the FC still alive for Rectagon. This is definitely going over to Whispering Almond here, and again, you just have to feel a little bit for Goofy on this map. I don't think this is a bad pick for them, but unfortunately, the strength of roster and the strength of a lot of the players going into the finals weekend here for Whispering Almond just looking so good. And whether it's a matter of practice or comfort or nerves, doesn't really matter. The end result's still going to be the same. 3-0 start for Whispering Almond into their next pick.
3-0 start, another FC for Rectagon. Has been popping off so hard in this match so far. That's 2 FCs now out of 3 maps, looking to continue that trend. And this is a finals map pool. These maps are not easy, but they're no problem for Rectagon. And there is kind of that key that MREC is missing from the side of Goofy, has been all tournament, but with a 400,000 score difference, MREC realistically would have had to FC this map in order to make it at least close for Goofy. And even then, if you theoretically had an FC, it would still be 100,000 points difference. So it's Whispering Almond just looks really strong so far, and this is why so many people consider them the favorites in this tournament. And they're gonna go right for the No Mod 6. Both of these teams, very strong No Mod 6 teams, have picked a lot of No Mod 6 throughout the tournament. But I think Whispering Almond has looked a little bit better on it so far when you compare these two teams. But the one thing about this No Mod 6 that we did mention right at the start of this match, this is CS7, so it's going to be very different than any of the previous No Mod 6s you've seen. And I do think that's going to hurt Goofy a little bit, who might feel a little bit better about those kind of more rhythmic No Mod 6s, whereas this is CS7, obviously, very bursty, lots of just 5-note bursts, and somewhat more kind of burst/flow aim.
Yeah, this is also a interesting pick. I think if Whispering Almond wins this, it really throws a wrench into what could be a relatively good pick ban for Goofy going into the second round of picks here. If you win this sort of pick as Whispering Almond, you now say, okay, we have beaten you on old map aim control, on tech, and on streams. Let's beat you on aim too. Just pure aim. What this map really does is a lot of jumps and a lot of flow aim. It's a really high circle size. It is precision, but a lot of what this could give for Goofy is some hope into winning the aim consistency picks. Your No Mod 1, Hidden 1, Hard Rock 1, DT 1, Free Mod 1, right? If those picks become available to Goofy by the end of this map, I think we see a very different course of the rest of this map. But if Whispering Almond is able to take the win here, then it doesn't look that good on those picks either for Goofy, despite how good they've looked on them throughout the rest of the tournament. Rectagon, Malashevsky, Fancy, and Badu in for Whispering Almond on this one. Malashevsky, the only player to keep combo on their side, whereas White Cat now the only one left standing for Goofy. He's joined by Enri, Fiery Rage, and a Reedcat on this map. And looking okay for both of these teams. Goofy not down any significant combo right now, with one FC matching Malashevsky's. Couple of traded breaks for Fiery and Reedcat. Rectagon the only one to miss on the side of Whispering Almond, as Fancy and Badu continue to hold pretty solid supporting combos on this map. That 500 combo for Malashevsky now gone. White Cat the only FC remaining for Goofy, and that may not be enough to carry it, as he does find the miss himself. And that is a full reset, though, for both teams. The score incredibly close right now, within 50k, but more misses to come through for Goofy as we get into the second half of this map. Rectagon, Fancy Lad holding high combo through the duck slider, now into the next notch hell. And Reedcat actually going to find the slider break for Goofy during that notch hell slider. The lead been extended about to 80,000 points right now. Rectagon and Fancy going to continue to extend it over the combos that Fiery and Henry have right now. But this could be very, very close going into the ending. That is a 4-way break, though, for Goofy and Fancy, the only player. No! Nobody has combo. Okay, well.
Nobody has combo, but that's exactly what Whispering wants at this point. There's 200,000 score in the lead, and when you have no combo to make up that score difference, it just looks so great for Whispering Almond here. White Cat finds another miss, and the ending of this map is very tricky. It's another kind of funny slider, and it's just chain misses all over the place towards the end of this map. Whispering Almond looks like they're going to be taking a 4th point in a row here. And I do feel like there's a little bit of mental games going on with the No Mod 6 pick. You know, No Mod 6 has just been Goofy's go-to map for the entire tournament. Every single round, they are protecting the No Mod 6. They're protecting the No Mod 6. They're picking the No Mod 6s and they're winning them. And now Whispering Almond says, we'll pick the No Mod 6 and we're going to beat you pretty handedly on it. And what are you going to do now? And like you mentioned, Whispering Almond has just won every single skill set now. They've won the aim, they've won the streams, they've won the speed, and they've won the aim control. So where do you go from here as Goofy? It feels like you just don't have a lot of options left, despite there being so many maps left in the pool. And we do have bans, but maybe if you're Goofy, it's time to change it up and go for something like one of those free mods. But it's just so hard to pick for them at this point.
Definitely is. And it throws into question also what your ban should be now as Goofy. Given that, you know, initially you banned speed, but Tommy is asleep. He was not here for No Mod 2. There goes the DT2. So you're not picking speed for the rest of this match anyway, and what could have been an opportunity early on if you had picked that No Mod 2 first instead of the Hard Rock 3 is now gone as that DT2 vanishes from the rest of the pool. Free Mod 2 going to be the ban for Goofy. I do like that ban a lot, actually. I think that's pretty good, given that the finger control and aim control for Whispering Almond is cracked out. They are so good on those skill sets, and for something like the Free Mod 2, it definitely will help them through the rest of this match to not have to deal with this sort of a team on that map. That said, they are still down 4-0. This pick rotation, these 4 maps that are coming up, are do or die for Goofy. They could potentially not make it to that 3rd round of bans if they get 3 losses during these next 4 map picks. So these ones have to count for Goofy in order for them to stay alive in the winner's bracket. We'll see what they end up going with. Gonna be that hidden 3, stream aim and flow aim in hidden, 190 BPM. I think this is actually a very good pick for Goofy. Utami is missing. He is asleep. So they don't have one of their stream players for Whispering Almond. Badu also is not going to be playing this sort of map despite it being hidden. And who was the carry performer for Whispering Almond on No Mod 2? It was Rectagon, who had the ridiculous score on No Mod 2, the FC that allowed them to win by only 387,000 score. If that's not an FC, then suddenly you're looking at a very different result. So I like this a lot because Rectagon is definitely not a comfortable hidden player compared to his other skills. I really like this pick from Goofy. I think this followed by the hidden one is probably what we're going to end up seeing. Even if you do get somebody like Badu in on the hidden one, I think that it's still probably a good pick for you, given the absence of Utami, given that they are missing one of those players who would usually be in for this kind of map.
I do think we probably still see Rectagon on this one, just one of their better stream players, despite the discomfort on hidden, because you do need somebody to come in to replace Utami. I would expect we see Taquito on this as well. Very strong hidden player there, but on Goofy, it does feel like they just have a very strong roster for this. You have Zudi, obviously an incredible hidden player, White Cat as well, and those 2 alone are already ridiculously good. Maybe you put somebody like Kiegan.
So apparently Utami's here.
Okay. Utami has awoken.
Well,
the question is Utami warm enough to hit streams? They're only 190, so probably. Into the map we go. It is going to be Malice and Fancy Lad on this one. Thriller is going to find a very early miss. And this does have some finger control elements to it at the start, so players going to have to watch out for that, but it is mostly just going to be a test of that stream aim. Very long map as well. Everybody hits the first pattern except for Utami. Maybe not warm enough. Dropping a lot of accuracy as well, so going to give Goofy a pretty good lead so far. Malice now finding the miss. Whitecat trades it back. And Goofy are going to be loving that trade. Zudi, Kieg, and Kriller all holding pretty strong. Kriller not too far behind the full combo. And Goofy looking pretty good early on here.
It's the accuracy giving the lead over to Goofy right now. 91% on Utami, who probably just woke up, is, not going to be as comfortable as he usually would be on this sort of map. Even with Utami in the lobby, there goes another chain miss for Utami. It's matched by Kriller, but there goes Enri, more importantly, one of the full combos down for Goofy. It is matched by a break from Taquito, though, up in that top left corner. And Taquito and Fancy now dropping. It's only Zudinator left alive for Goofy. First hidden full combo on Euphoria coming in hot here for the stream aim hidden pick for Goofy right now. Whitecat not too far behind in combo, and there are 0 combos alive for Whispering Almond. This pick looking so good for Goofy, and they may have finally found a bit of the footing that they needed in this match. These picks in the second rotation had to count, and they are finally going to take a single point off of Whispering Almond. This is the first map that Whispering Almond has lost all tournament long, and it's off the full combo from Zudinator and 700k plus from Whitecat on this map. Almost 600k from Kriller as well. Enri really the only player having a tough time on that map for Goofy, and it really shows in the score difference. Almost a million score difference, well over 800k there in the favor of Goofy. Super solid plays from all of their members, and that has to be a big confidence boost. You do not want to be down 5-0 after that next pick. So very, very good for them. Unfortunately, it's going to mean the hidden 2 next pick, Whispering Almond wanting to stuff any type of momentum swing here with the low approach rate hidden.
I do think this is such incredibly smart usage of that protected pick. Finally, Goofy does get a little bit of momentum back, and Whispering Almond wants to shut that down right away. They don't even want to give them an opening back into this match, so going with that hidden 2 that you'd expect them to be so much better on. But that was just such a great team performance from Goofy, and I think the key about that map is not only was it a point for Goofy, but it was very decisive. Utami was down at 300,000 points, bottom score in the lobby, obviously Zudi and Whitecat, next 2 best scores, and they won it so handily that they know now that they have at least some picks they can win. There's some skill sets that they at least have a chance on, and they're not completely out of it. But that being said, they are quite far behind still. They have a lot of ground to make up, and that ground starts with HD2. And I think that's a pretty tall mountain for them at the moment.
Yeah, low approach rate rating is not something that Goofy is particularly strong on. I think this is going to be a pretty one-sided affair for Whispering Almond. Taquito, Malashevsky, Badu, Bartek, low approach rate. Haha. They still don't even need to put in I'm a Fancy Lad or Utami on this map, right? Like,
we're both just cracked at low AR hidden,
we're going to be just fine on it. Meanwhile, Fiery, Enri, Kriller, and Whitecat in for Goofy. I mean, this is a good roster for Goofy as well. Fiery, Kriller, Whitecat in particular, all very good on this type of low approach rate stuff. I'm not sure, just because I haven't seen a lot of Enri or Kieg in tournament, exactly how good they are on low approach rate hidden. I do believe that they are split at it, though, if memory serves, just trying to remember from a bunch of different tournaments, right? Couple of early breaks here. Very, very early break for Fiery. Another matched break by Taquito. Whitecat and Kriller all dropping, though, on the streams in this map. And that leaves only Enri as the FC alive for Goofy right now versus 3 FCs and a 200 combo for Taquito coming out of Whispering Almond. And, well, this team's pretty good. I think the only player who's FC'd this map so far is Akoro, so...
Oh.
Yeah,
well,
having 3 FCs alive at the halfway mark is pretty solid stuff for Whispering Almond on this map.
Yeah, and I mean, not only is it the combos, but the accuracies on that team are so disgusting. Every single one of them above 98%. Look at the accuracies on the other team, 96, 96, 94. Those aren't even bad accuracies. This Whispering Almond team is just so good, and we see more misses out of Goofy. Whitecat Henry, Fiery, all missing. And Whispering Almond is showing no signs of slowing down. There is a somewhat tricky tech section here, but this team is so good, and Whitecap finds another miss. The lead is so massive, 600,000 points. Malice does finally find a miss. There goes Taquito as well. All of a sudden, Goofy has a small window back into this.
No, they don't. Sorry, no, they don't. But Badoo and Bartek still have FCs. Nah. Good try making it interesting, but nah, pretty sure this map's already over.
I try my best, okay? You know,
I know you tried, but man, it's gonna be a million score by the end of this map.
You're not wrong.
It's just too good at this, man. All right, like, there's some maps you want to hype up. This is not one of them. Kriller has good combo to that point, but like, Badoo Bartek are still popping off. They're still going. It's already almost a million score lead. They're going to crest that mark by the end of this, and it is one relatively one-sided win for Goofy into another very one-sided win for Whispering Almond. Badoo going to make the second full combo on this map of the weekend, unless Okoro already FC'd twice. He did have to play twice in the loser bracket. I'm going to check on that. But yeah, very good FC from Badoo, and well over a million score gap for Whispering Almond on this map. To be expected, given the quality of their low approach rate reading roster. Just absolutely insane.
Yep. And, knowing Okoro, I wouldn't be surprised if there was 2 FCs, but still very impressive by Badoo. Goofy now has a pick. It was very decisive, but you really just have to shake that one off. You can't let it get to you mentally. This is never a pick you ever expected to win. This isn't a pick you even expected to be close. And I feel like every match you go into, especially against a team like Whispering Almonds, there's always going to be a couple picks where it's like, yep, this pick is going to be picked by the other team at some point. It's 100% loss. We don't have a chance, and that is okay. You can't let it get to you. You just got to go back to your picks. Going to be going with Nomon 3, picking into Whispering Almond a little bit. This feels like something Whispering Almond should be so good on. Throughout this tournament, Whispering Almond have very consistently picked the Nomon 3 very often. First pick for them. We talk about players like Badoo, like Malice, like Fancy Lad that are some of the best players in the game at aim control, at alt. And so this is a really scary pick for Goofy, and I feel like it gives you some insight into their mindset here. You know, their backs are against the wall. Now is the time to go for the risky picks that are potentially coin flip. You can't afford to play it safe anymore. And so they are going to be putting their trust in Whitecap, probably Zoodinator on this one, looking to those players to put up some really big scores. But it's going to be really tricky for them.
Yeah, as there are... I don't think this pick is necessarily bad for Goofy. I'm surprised it's not something a bit more consistency focused, but I don't think it's that bad for them. Out of all of the aim control picks left up in the pool, I think this is probably the one where they contest Whispering Almond the most, given that they have players like Fiery Whitecat Zoodinator for alt. They can fill that in with Reedcat, with Kriller. So they have more than 4 players who can go in for this map and do very, very well on it. So I'm really not too surprised that they end up picking this at some point. I don't know how well it will work out, because you can say the same for Whispering Almond, right? They have more than 4 players who can go in for this. You're looking at I'm a Fancy Lad, at Badoo, at Malashevsky. You're looking even at Rectigon for stuff like this. You're looking at Taquito for stuff like this. You're looking at Utami if he is now awake for stuff like this, right? So you have so many good players who can go in for this type for both teams. It'll be at least a guessing game as to which 4 of them they end up picking for both teams. I can say you're getting Whitecat in for this, you're getting Fiery in for this. It's gonna be Henry and Kriller in for this Nomon 3, though. Was not expecting Henry to come in for this for Goofy, considering how well Zoodinator has been doing on alt maps recently in tournaments. So little surprising there. Utami, Malashevsky, Badoo, Fancy Lad, not at all surprising though for Whispering Almond, as those 4 players, all extremely good alt players. Not really anything to talk about there, as both of the rosters locked in, ready to go. A couple of early misses though for Utami and Fancy Lad, dropping the combo early on. Malashevsky also on a reverse choke at the moment, down about 60 combo from an FC. So it is a 4-way FC for Goofy, and a good start for them on this map.
Yep, and to your point, this is very kind of standard flow aim compared to a lot of other picks. They're a lot more awkward, a little bit trickier patterns. this is a very kind of standard flow aim for Nomad 3, and so this is the kind of thing that Goofy might be a little bit more comfortable with as opposed to a lot of the other aim control maps. They've made it a quarter of the way through the map now, holding on to these 4 combos, and that's going to give them a pretty big advantage early on, especially with Utami finding another miss. They're going to continue to push this score lead. White Cat still holding the SS, all of them above 99. Fancy now finding a miss. They do have Malice and Badoo holding very good combos, but 4 FCs to 2, not going to be nearly enough, so they're going to need a lot of breaks. Very long map, so lots of time remaining. Enri finds a really big miss. Fire Rage as well. Utami trades it back, but so good for Whispering Almond. They have a chance now. All these players
they can capitalize on that chance going in here. Yep. Still the FCs for oh my Kriller,
oh no.
Well,
you
that
cannot
is
miss
very
there.
Unfortunate. Badoo and Malashevsky still on big combos right now for Whispering Almond. Badoo with the FC, Malashevsky on the reverse choke, and this is looking really rough for Goofy. If we don't see the misses from Badoo and Malashevsky, there goes Badoo. Fancy Lad also going to trade the miss away. It's just Malashevsky who has the combo right now for Whispering Almond. Utami has some combo, but there's overall better support for Goofy right now as we get into the last quarter of the map. There is only a 50,000 score difference between the two teams. Will the supporting combos for White Cat be enough during this section to keep the score lead alive? Track whether that score lead grows or shrinks. There goes White Cat. It's going to start to shrink right now in the favor of Whispering Almond as we get still Malashevsky holding on to this reverse choke. And this is going to end up being such a sad pick for Goofy if they do lose it in this fashion. Still big combos for all of the other members, though. Nobody missing during this ending section for either team right now.
Oh my God.
The score lead just barely swaps over to Whispering Almond. Any misses from Whispering Almond will kill
Malice drops.
Fire Rage trades the break, but is there enough? Utami also drops. Will the combos from Enri, Kriller, and White Cat be enough to pull it back over? But Badoo also drops right at the ending. Kriller the only one to drop. He finds chain misses. Will it still be enough, though? It is 30,000 points in the lead for Goofy at the end there. Every player almost on Whispering Almond finding breaks there. Fancy the only one to hold, but the combo not big enough to do anything about the point for Goofy. And those are 2 successful picks for Goofy in a row. They do barely pull that one off, but it is enough to keep them alive here, not give over that match point to Whispering Almond on their next pick, and keep those hopes at a winner's bracket run to the grand finals alive for Goofy. Wow.
Keeping their hopes alive indeed. What a map. 30,000 points, and Goofy showing that they're not just going to roll over in this match. They still have some juice left in them, and they're looking to make this one at least a close one going into these last few picks. We do have a very quick Nomad 4 pick out of Whispering Almond. It makes a lot of sense. This is one of those other maps, aside from the Nomad 3, that they very consistently picked. But man, Goofy going to be feeling so good about themselves after that one. Much needed confidence boost, I think. And I think this, you can't really say this is super Whispering Almond favored. Goofy has some very capable tech players. Fiery, obviously one of the best tech players in the game. White Cat as well. Even Kriller maybe a solid tech player there. And so there's a lot of potential players that can put up really good performances on this map. Whispering Almond as well. I think you expect to see Fancy Lad for sure on this one. Probably Rectagon as well. This map is 256 BPM, so it is a little bit speedy, and that might gate a couple of players from putting up really strong performances on this map. I will say it is very, very much ladder tech, and sorry, I don't know why I said 250, I was looking at another map. It is 185 BPM, there's no speed in this pick, it is entirely slider tech. And so that is going to favor a lot of these very strong slider aim players.
This is going to be very good for all of the tech players on both of these teams, but, as we've already seen on the Hard Rock 3, very, very solid tech roster for Whispering Almond. No matter who wins this map, it is going to be an uphill battle for Goofy going into the ending here. If they do manage to take the breakpoint, though, it becomes a much easier last pick rotation for them. We'll see whether they are able to get that breakpoint or not on this map. And also, no matter what happens here in this match, for those of you watching live, you're going to want to stick around after this for the Grand Finals map pool showcase. We've seen a few custom songs at a time, 1 or 2, in a lot of map pools. This next Grand Finals pool is going to have even more, and it will have the wildest shit you have ever seen in OS tournaments. So if you are watching live, make sure you stick around for that Grand Finals map pool showcase starting at 18:30 UTC.
Absolutely going to be a banger, but you see exactly what kind of map this is very quickly into the slider spam, and Kriller are going to be finding a very early miss. Shouldn't matter too much. Bartek is going to trade it back, but there goes Kieg now. Taquito now trading, and it's just going to be 2 FCs to 2. Look at the accuracies, though. White Cat looking so good at 99. Malice matching, though. Matre now finds a miss. Going to be the edge to Goofy, and that score should flip over shortly as long as we don't see any big misses out of Goofy. This map is only 2 minutes long. It's a miss out of Bartek, and the map is already halfway through. Madre finds another miss, and there goes Malice now with White Cat holding. It's going to be so far in the favor of Goofy. Zudi finds a miss. That's going to be huge, and it is going to give Whispering Ahmed a chance, so they're not going to be out of it just yet, but they desperately need White Cat to find a miss. At 600 combo, even Kriller has recovered, and there's not really anyone to match. Taquito doing his best, but it's not going to be nearly enough, and score gap is going to continue to grow for Goofy here as we get farther towards the end of this map.
This is a hell of a play for Goofy as a team right now. We do see a miss come through for Zuni, and a couple of misses at that, but Kriller and White Cat right now are putting the team on their back. These two German OWC carry players now poised to take the breakpoint for Goofy. That miss from Taquito really putting the pressure on for Whispering Almond, but White Cat and Kriller both drop. It's Malashevsky and Bartek to hold right now. The two Poles versus the two Germans. Malashevsky the only one to keep the combo right now. There's still an 90,000 score lead here going into the ending. Is Malashevsky's combo going to be enough? More misses come through for Goofy right at the end, but it is not going to be enough. 60k the score lead by the end of it for Goofy, and White Cat and Kriller just single-handedly putting Goofy on their back there. Near 700k for White Cat on that, up 100,000 over Malashevsky. And if you told me that White Cat was going to outscore Malashevsky on this No Mod 4, I would not have believed you at the start of this match. But Malashevsky not having as good of a time as I think you expect from him on this sort of pick, and White Cat performing very, very well in this match so far, not just on this map, but across so many different maps. A couple hiccups here and there on the No Mod 2, but other than that, has been one of the top performers for this team across a wide variety of maps, and it pays off for Goofy on that pick, now bringing it to a 5-3 against Whispering Almond. Goofy still down 1 breakpoint, but this next round of bans looking much better for Goofy than either of the previous ones, I think, from the start of the match. This is a very solid position for them to be in, especially, starting 4-0 down. They won 3 out of the last 4 maps, have really turned the tides in this matchup.
Yeah, White Cat, of course, the star of the show, but I think what was so key there is that Kriller was able to hold on to that combo, put up the 500k score, because when you look at the actual scores from each teams, Whispering Almond looked overall more comfortable on that map. It was really just White Cat putting up an incredible score that put them over the edge and gave them the chance to take that point, and they could not have done it without the supporting combo from Kriller getting just enough. We do see a Hard Rock 1 ban. I do think this makes a lot of sense. That is just pure Hard Rock aim, something that you'd expect Goofy to be very strong on. Something I honestly could have seen them picking a lot earlier but haven't yet, so a smart ban out of them. If you're on the side of Goofy, I do wonder if we see something like a Hard Rock 2 ban is certainly possible here. Or maybe a DT ban as well, but DT1 is just a very standard aim DT map, so they probably want to keep that around.
See whether they end up keeping that DT or not. I think if you are on the side of Goofy, you potentially look at banning out that free mod 3. It's the other low approach rate map in this pool, and yes, you can pick Hard Rock on it, but you've already lost the No Mod 6 and you've lost Hidden 2, so it doesn't look like a particularly good map for you. They're going to ban out the DT1 though, so I'm not too surprised at that. They do, have Embrek missing. He would absolutely be in for that roster. If you are playing DT1 as Goofy, you want him there for it. So he is not going to be in for this map, and they choose to ban it out instead. And they do actually end up picking another one of those aim consistency maps instead. True to the Hard Rock one ban, they pick the hidden one here, Hires High. This is relatively straightforward consistency aim mapping in hidden, but a lot of the jumps have these really awkward wide angles or polygonal shapes to them that do make this a little bit more tricky than your average aim map. A little bit bursty as well in this map. I don't think that's going to be a problem for too many players, but it may be a reason to see Badu stay out of this for accuracy's sake. I don't think there's any streams long enough in this map to cause him to combo break, but if there are enough players on the team for Whispering Almond to come in instead of him, then I think we'll probably see a different roster. And there probably are, right? Bartek, Fancy Lad, Utami, Malashevsky, to name 4 of them right off the bat, who can go in instead for Badu. So we probably don't see him on this map. Takedo as well could come in for this, right? So you have, again, 6 players who could go in. Badu probably staying out given the BPM and the fact that this is relatively streamy. But I think a solid pick for Goofy regardless. I've been waiting for these aim consistency maps to come out.
Yeah, this is one of those things that we kind of expected would be slightly Goofy favorite at the start of this match. And to the point of Badu, it's only 200 BPM, which is fairly low for this caliber of player, so there's no super long streams or anything like that, so I do think Badu should be okay on this one. And here we are, should be getting into the map in just a second. Lineup's going to be Kriller, Kieg, Whitecat, and Zudi for Goofy, Fancy Lad, Malice, Badu, and Takedo. Whispering Almond looking to take themselves to match point. Goofy just trying to keep their hopes alive, give themselves a chance to get into Grand Finals. And this is a very awkward kind of aim pick, so we'll see how these players do on it.
Very, very early break for Whitecat will probably not mean much in the grand scheme of things, given that he is less than 100 combo down from an FC, and the accuracy is still good. It's not going to impact the score all that much. Another break for Whitecat. It is traded by Fancy, though, so this time around, again, not mattering. A little bit worrying, though. One of the star players for this team not performing how you would usually expect him to on this map. An untraded break comes out from Zudinator as well. Malashevsky, Takedo, and Badu also holding full combos for Whispering Almond. We are only a quarter of the way into the map, and already quite a few combo breaks from both of these teams. Kriller and Henry still holding the full combos for Goofy as Fancy drops the FC now. Badu also going to drop the FC going into this KI time, and that is going to make this a little bit more difficult for Whispering Almond to accumulate that score lead that they want to find on this map. No further breaks during this KI time right now. Everybody looking relatively solid going into the next quarter here, as we still have the two-way full combo for both of these teams. Fancy and Badu find a two-way break, however, it's only matched by Zudi, and this is now big combo advantage specifically for Whitecat on the side of Goofy. Depended on those full combos, though, from Kriller and Henry.
Yep, there goes Zudi again, but that's really not a combo that matters. Had already missed earlier, and so that's just a low combo dropping for Goofy. They're holding on to their 3 big combos, and that's the key. Whitecat, not on an FC, but only 170 combo behind. You are going to still be able to get 850k score if you know a lot of the combo. There goes Kriller, that's a really big drop, and all of a sudden...
But it's traded.
Yeah, traded right back, and it's still 2 FCs to 1. Goofy is going to hold on to that 1 FC advantage, and Whitecat especially looking to put up another incredible performance. Henry there as well. Fancy finds a pretty big miss. Didn't have a ton of combo, but as long as Malice holds, Whispering Almond does have a chance, but only a third of the map to go, and they are slowly running out of time.
Very, very good combo again from Whitecat on the side of Goofy. Zudinator as well, holding good enough combo here. Malashevsky on the 1-100 FC... Zudi? All right, Malashevsky on the 1-100 full combo, but it doesn't really matter because it's being matched well enough by Henry on 99.5, and there goes Malashevsky's FC as well, and we have ourselves a match right now. No FCs remaining for Whispering Almond. Goofy still with the FC on Henry, who really has shown up this match, actually. Has been putting up a really solid performance for Goofy overall. And even with those misses near the end there for Henry, it is not going to matter. Whitecat with 1,000 combo and a 200,000 score lead buffer to help him out there in the event of a miss. Badu and Fancy too much on their shoulders to carry here at the end. And in spite of the miss from White Cat, it is still going to go over to Goofy. It's going to be a little bit closer than they might have liked on this pick, but they are going to find the win regardless and put themselves up 4-5 now, consolidating the break point that they found in the last set of picks. They still have to find one more to tie it up, but this is looking better and better the later this match goes for Goofy right now.
Up from 4-0, now only 5-4. Goofy are here to play, and not only are they bringing the score back, but this is such a big momentum shift. Have won 4 out of the last 5 picks now. The only thing they lost is that hidden 2, which they never expected to win in the first place. And they're going to be feeling so good right now. I feel like such a big part of these matches is that mental aspect. It can make such a big difference in terms of score. If you're just not feeling good on the day, and if Goofy wasn't feeling good before, they certainly are now. We do have the pick out of Whispering Almonds. It's going to be the Fremont 3, and this is something that you mentioned as a potential ban for Goofy here. It is that other low AR pick. So the one thing that is going to help out Goofy a little bit is that unlike the hidden 2, you only need one player to take that low AR hidden. And so I'm wondering if we do just see them toss Kriller on that, who isn't really known, I would say, for his low AR abilities, but was that kind of best AR8 performer on the hidden 2. So that might be the case, and if they can get the Nomads and the Hard Rock to put up good scores, they can potentially look to match Whispering Almond on this one, but I do think Whispering Almond is still favored here.
I think they might put Henry on the low AR hidden, actually, for Goofy here. Henry has looked really comfortable throughout the match on these low AR hiddens, has not looked really good on the Hard Rock. I think it's going to be one of Kriller or Henry on the hidden for sure. I think predicting Kriller for it is also pretty likely to be true. But at the same time, Henry has looked relatively comfortable, and you might want Kriller to go Nomad to try to guarantee a full combo if you are Goofy. I think that's definitely what's happening for White Cat, and then you're looking for one precision player, very likely to be Zootinator or Fiery Rage for Goofy as the last player to join them on this map. Could also be Reed Cat, actually, if you're just looking for Hard Rock only, it could be Reed Cat as well. But he has not looked as good as he usually does in this match, so I don't know how comfortable he is feeling right now to be going in, which is why I kind of leave him out of that conversation a little bit.
Sure.
But I wouldn't be surprised to see him in. For Whispering Almond, I mean, we already saw how good they looked on that low approach rate hidden map. You're putting Badu on the hidden. You're getting Malashevsky and Taquito to come in and potentially take hidden or just go Nomad. Same for Bartek, who got 900k on the last low approach rate map, right? And then you have players like I'm a Fancy Lad or Disco Marek, Malashevsky, who can come in and go Hard Rock, or Rectigon, who can come in and go Hard Rock. Very likely to be Rectigon, actually, for the sole Hard Rock player for Whispering Almond, as this map does not favor mods, definitely favors no mod. It's actually going to be Malashevsky with hidden Hard Rock, Zootinator matching that hidden Hard Rock, White Cat on the preference Hard Rock right now for Goofy. I am very surprised to see that. Kriller on hidden only and Fiery Rage on no mod to try and guarantee the FC. Preference hidden as well for Utami and Taquito at the moment. Not paying off for Taquito. Instant chain miss on the first stream, but due on the no mod for Whispering Almond.
Yep, and this map kind of has two parts to it, which is really interesting. Kriller does trade the miss back, but the start of this map is a lot more kind of aim and burst heavy, so it makes it a lot easier on the Hard Rock compared to the hidden, in my opinion. Whereas the second half of this map is much more stream heavy, which kind of makes it a little bit easier for the area hidden players, adds a little bit more challenge to the Hard Rock players. So I would not be surprised to see the Hard Rock players looking really good in the first half of this map and then struggle a little bit more towards the end. We have seen a couple breaks though. Malice and Kriller did trade, so Goofy is going to be taking the early lead and only a quarter of the way into the map. Currently 3 FCs to 2. Kriller does find another miss.
That's not the player you care about for misses from Goofy though. The double Hard Rock still working out for them at the moment. Zooty and White Cat still holding those FCs. Fiery still on the no mod as well. This is a map where we've seen a ton of players find really good scores in the first half and then struggle on the second half. That miss from Whitecat during the first half is going to give the score lead over, though, as we've seen good recovery from both Taquito and Malashevsky on the side of Whispering Almond. Utami and Badu as well, still holding these FCs. There goes Utami on the hidden. That is a good matched miss once again for Goofy on this map. Zudi and Fiery against Badu with an FC, and then two very good recovered combos for Malashevsky and Taquito. We need at least Taquito to miss to see this score come over. There goes Taquito!
There it is.
Okay, we have a third of the map left, but this last third is very, very difficult, and Fiery matched the miss. So unfortunately, that miss from Taquito is not going to matter. Zudi, the only FC alive right now for Goofy, as, you know, you really have to see Badu miss at this point, and for Badu to miss on Nomad on this map is just a dream. There goes Zudi, and there goes the chances of a breakpoint on this map. It's all going to come down to the last two maps here for Goofy, as Whispering Almond has all but secured the point now with massive combo advantage on Malashevsky and Badu. Malashevsky on the hidden hard rock looking so comfortable after a couple of early misses there. Badu does eventually miss on the Nomad, but with zero chance for a comeback on the side of Goofy. That is going to be 6-4. Match point now for Whispering Almond going into the last pick for Goofy. Goofy needing to win their own last pick, win the last pick from Whispering Almond as well to force the tiebreaker.
Now, I don't think that is impossible by any means. Goofy certainly have the ability to win their own picks, as we've seen throughout the last few matches, and have had somewhat of a tough time winning Whispering Almond's picks, as is kind of expected. But we're getting to the point where there's just not a lot of maps left in the pool. You kind of run out of options, so whose pick it is matters so much less towards the end of the map, when you are kind of forced to go with maps that tend to be more coin flippy, because most of the time, especially with how good these two teams are, you're not going to get this far into the match and still have picks that are, oh yeah, we definitely win that. This far in, it all becomes super coin flip, and so we are going to be waiting on Goofy's pick now.
I think this is really likely to be a Nomad 1. We have seen already the win on Hidden 1. We've seen them win on a couple of different things, but mostly aim. You know, the Hidden 3 win in flow aim, the Nomad 3 win for aim control, the Hidden 1 win for awkward aim. They have one on Nomad 4 as well, but there's not really a lot of tech left in this pool, and I don't think you're comfortable picking tech into this team anyway. And that does sound like the Nomad 1. Here we go. Yep. 220 BPM aim consistency. Not very bursty, not very streamy. Pretty straightforward overall. 7.5 stars on the new star rating. A little bit more on the old star rating, as you see at the bottom of your screen right now. But very, very comfortable map overall, and it's something that the aim players on Goofy are going to be very happy with.
Yeah, pick makes a lot of sense, and it's, like you said, it's not very bursty, but it does have a couple of bursts, and so I don't think we're going to see Badu in for this one. I don't know that Badu is going to want to play the 220 BPM. I do think the much faster aim does favor players like Whitecat and Zudi, who are obviously very strong aim, not only aim players, but very strong fast aim players. Whereas I feel like the roster is a little bit more unclear for Whispering Almond. Probably going to be seeing Rectigon in for this one. Utami as well, I would say. But after that, it's hard to say.
Yeah, there's a lot of players on Whispering Almond who could go in for this. I would be surprised to not see Malashevsky in, given just how good he's been throughout the whole year and throughout this match and Corsace in general. But like you said, a lot of toss-ups here on the roster for Whispering Almond. We'll end up seeing who they actually want to put in. But, I mean, it's do or die for Goofy, and I think they picked a good map to wager their winner's bracket run on here. I think going to be one of their better maps that is actually left in the pool right now. And we do have the rosters for both teams locked in. Rectigon, Malashevsky, I'm a Fancy Lad, and Utami in for Whispering Almond. Kriller, Zudinator, Enri, and Whitecat in for Goofy. As we get as we get into what could be the last map of the match. Don't forget, if you haven't already, you can always support the tournament using !donate or by giving channel points over to the $1,000 prize pool challenge. Go do it. It's time. Yep. Last map of the match, potentially. Last pick for Goofy 100% of the time. Even if they win it, this will be their last pick. Off to an okay start, though, with Utami dropping the early miss for Whispering Almond. Probably won't matter too much, only down about 140, 150 combo from an FC.
Yeah, this is going to be a very long map, 4 minutes in length, and Nomad 1 does tend to be a very comfortable skill set for a lot of players, so this is the kind of map where you expect to see a lot of very high combos, and when that happens, it tends to come down to 1 or 2 big combos. And there's only 3 choruses. Malice finds a pretty big miss, actually. 400 combo behind now is going to give an edge over to Goofy. And what's so important here is if you can hold on through the choruses, there are easier sections between all the choruses. So if you hold on through the chorus and your opponent's break, it's just 300, 200 combo while you build that score lead. And Malice finding another miss is going to put Whispering Almond behind early on.
It's looking good at the start here for Goofy, but it is still the start of the map. We are still first half at this point. Getting into the second KI time now. And this is, like you said, the important parts where you often find all of those misses for a lot of teams.
Halfway point.
A little bit more build up. Hold on.
Worst place to miss as well. Yeah, it'll take a second, but the halfway point of the map is the absolute worst place you can miss, so this chorus is going to be crucial for both of these teams. Currently 4 FCs to 2, but Utami's there with the combo. Fancy Lad been misses before the chorus. That's so huge. And Recti as well. All the full combos are now down. Utami is recovering, but 4 FCs to none. It's going to be such a massive advantage for Goofy. The question now is, can all 4 of those players hold on through the combo they have so far, but there's still a little bit to go. Killer and Whitecat gonna find misses. That's pretty good.
Zudi and Henry still holding on to the full combos, and 0 FCs left for Whispering Almond. This is exactly what they needed for Goofy to stage the comeback, and this is almost certainly going to be the win for Goofy on this map. Also, hi Henry. As Zudi and Henry continue on with the full combos, looking very, very solid right now for Goofy. Have looked really good all match. For Henry in particular. Zudi, a couple of rocky maps here and there throughout this match, but really performing when it counts to keep them in the winner's bracket with this last pick.
Yeah, Goofy has just picked up so much momentum into the back half of this match. A very shaky start, like you said, but have just been looking so much stronger into the ending. They have found their momentum, they have found the edge they needed, and into the end of this map, not only is this a win, but look how decisive it is. This is 600, almost 700,000 score lead here, and it's going to be Zudi and Kieg holding the FCs, looking to complete the full combo here.
At this point, you have to look at what maps are left in this pool. And there are 2 that remain that can be picked for Whispering Almond. Obviously, the tiebreaker still left as well. Henry and Zudi going to drop the full combos before we end off this map, but it's not going to matter. Almost 900,000, 800,000 at least score lead for Goofy on that map as they push the scoreline to 6-5. Still match point for Whispering Almond. And Whispering Almond's last pick as well. They have 2 maps to choose from, either Hard Rock 2 or Free Mod 1. And after what we have seen on Hidden 1 and No Mod 1, I very highly doubt they are going to be picking that Free Mod 1 right now. I am all but assured that they are going to pick this Hard Rock 2 right now, the Precision Hard Rock map.
Yep, I think that's a very, very safe bet. I would be very shocked if they picked Free Mod 1 after losing so many of these aim picks. But talking about the Hard Rock 2, it is also a very aim-focused Hard Rock 2, so Whispering Almond, 2 options left, and both of those options are aim. You either have Free Mod Consistency aim, or you have Hard Rock 2 CS 6.5 aim. You know, there's some very light tech elements to it, but really, Hard Rock 2 is just testing precision aim. We do have the Hard Rock 2, but this is such a toss-up We have seen Whispering Almond be a little bit better on the Hard Rocks. Did ban it at the Hard Rock 1, but Hard Rock 2 and A map has favored Goofy here. And they have a good lineup for it too. Fiery Rage, you would certainly expect to be in for this one. White Cat as well. Might even see Zudi. For the side of Whispering Almond, very tricky. We might see Badoo in for this one, possibly, because it is entirely aim. I don't think there's any bursts in this map, if I'm remembering correctly. But not known for his HR ability either, so we'll have to see.
I have to correct you there. Badoo is actually an extremely good Hard Rock player. Has some really ridiculously good Hard Rock alt plays and good Hard Rock tech plays, and is a very, very good precision player. Something that people forget due to his, being a really good low approach rate player and reading player, but he is so good at precision as well. So I would be surprised to not see him in for this, actually. And like you said, this is not a very bursty map as well, which makes it much easier for somebody like Badoo to go in for this sort of pick, as this sort of older style map by Regimago really leans heavily into some good skill sets for Badoo. But that said, there are some incredibly good Hard Rock precision players on the side of Goofy as well. Zudinator, White Cat, Reed Cat if he is comfortable, but again has not been performing so well, so very likely to also see Kriller and Fiery in for this map from Goofy, and that is a scary precision Hard Rock roster.
Is it ever?
This is not a guaranteed point for Whispering Almond, and they have to gamble their last pick on this map because that free mod 1 just not looking all that good. We do see Reed Cat in for Kriller on the side of Goofy. Reed Cat's specialty before he became an all-rounder in tournaments was this very skill set, Hard Rock precision. So not surprising to see him in for it. Zudi gonna miss the very first burst and trade with Rectagon. White Cat and Fiery still holding the full combos for Goofy. Rectagon joined by Malashevsky, Badoo, and Utami for this map.
Before we really get into the map, one thing I want to highlight is that halfway through the map, pretty much right at the halfway point, there's a very, very tricky back and forth section. That halfway point is the absolute worst place you can drop your combo, so gonna want to watch out for big misses here. We do have a lot of early misses though. White Cat, Fiery, and Rectiton, Badoo. It is just gonna be that trade. Badoo finds a miss, so does Utami, and all of a sudden, gonna be 2 FCs to 1 in the favor of Malice.
And Rectagon, not too far behind, excuse me, but Reed Cat and Zudi holding close to full combo. Reed Cat with the FC, Zudi on a reverse choke, Malashevsky the only full combo for Whispering Almond. Accuracy at this point keeping the score on the side of Whispering Almond, though. You see 99.4 for Malashevsky, and Badoo on 99 as well. Reed Cat down below that 97 mark, hanging out there with Zudinator with the high combos. So that accuracy really playing a role, and Fiery is just not looking comfortable on this, man. Really having a rough time finding so many misses over and over again. But Malashevsky drops the only FC remaining for Whispering Almond, and in spite of a lot of misses coming out of Fiery Rage, Zudi and Reed Cat might be able to carry this anyway. Rectagon and Badoo are not too far behind, though. There is pressure on these scores to keep their combos alive, and Zudinator not going to be able to hold. Reed Cat not going to be able to hold through the back and forth. White Cat the only one for Goofy to do so, but Badoo and Rectagon both hold their high combos for Whispering Almond, and that is near disastrous. Rectagon is going to find the drop, but Badoo will hold off the advance from White Cat and hold the high combo as well. Ever so slightly lower combo for Badoo, but better accuracy, so pretty much the same score being accumulated by both of them right now. It's going to take either some repeated breaks for these supporting scores for Whispering Almond, or to drop.
White Cat finds such a big miss.
Cat instead.
And that's probably going to be it, unless we see a miss from Badoo soon. There is some supporting combo on the side of Goofy. The supporting combos from Whispering are chain missing. Reed Cat and Zudi recovering. Reed Cat finds a miss, and with Badoo holding only a quarter of the map to go, there goes Zudi, and that is going to be it. Whispering Almond is going to Grand Finals. 7-5 the match.
They get the winner's bracket advantage in Grand Finals. This is, I think, a much closer match than a lot of people would have expected. Missing Emrek, Goofy still forces a 7-5 out of Whispering Almond. It was very, very close, especially near the end. So much momentum swinging in the favor of Goofy, but just not enough on the last pick. The Hard Rock 2 not going the way that they would have hoped for Goofy, and Whispering Almond are going to be advancing into the grand finals in the winner's bracket with that extra life for bracket reset as well. And that is going to be it for our matches this weekend. But we still, for those of you watching live, have the grand finals map pool showcase coming up right after this. Before we get there, though, we have to congratulate our winning team. A guaranteed top 2 finish for Whispering Almond. Very well played. They dropped all 5 points here in the winners finals, but advance into the grand finals with a 24-5 map record and an undefeated streak of matches, still in the winner's bracket with the bracket reset advantage, the extra life in grand finals to show for it.